Priorities that we care for are reflected by both of these chambers of Congress by passing a 3.5 budget reconciliation that will help us lead better lives. So, we introduce some members of Congress who are aligned with us and are allies in the halls of power, and here we are about to introduce a couple more. So I want to bring up to our people stage on the People Watch, Representative Mondaire Jones.
Oh my goodness, it feels so good to be here with the young people who are leading the charge to ensure that we have a livable future here in the United States and globally. I can't help but be reminded of the fact that less than 2 months ago, we were out on those Capitol steps, and I see many of you here who were there back then, to get an eviction moratorium reinstated. And now we're here once again calling on people like myself, members of Congress, to do the right thing and to simply pass the boldest agenda of any president in a generation, to ensure that we get climate action, to ensure that we get universal child care, to ensure
that camera. Hal, raise your
just
hand.
like explicitly direct me so I can know where to. So you want me over here?
Yeah, you.
I wish somebody. Let me do this again. It was less than 2 months ago that we stood nearby on those Capitol steps to make sure that as many as 11 million people were not forced out onto the streets into homelessness. We got that eviction moratorium reinstated through our act. And now we are here rallying the halls of Congress yet again to rise to the occasion, to use the power that the people have vested in us to make sure that we stop the climate crisis. And we know that we can do that while creating hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of green jobs in the process. And by the way, we need to get that civilian climate corps become a reality. We know that we can expand Medicare and lower the age of Medicare eligibility and get us closer to Medicare for all, the only truly universal health care program imaginable. That is what we are fighting for here today. We know that we can get a truly universal child care program. And I'm so proud that we are on the cusp of doing precisely that. We can invest in a historic way in quality, affordable housing. We can do all of these things and ensure that everyone in the richest nation in the history of the world can live in dignity, and that not just ourselves, but our children and their children have a livable future. If we just pass the Build Back Better Act, that is what we are called here to do today. And that is what, with the help of grassroots activists, like everyone behind me, we will do this week, because we know that we have the American people on our side. So I'm so pleased to be here with you. Thanks for getting us to this point. And let's keep fighting, because people are listening. The American people understand that we need all of these things. These things are broadly popular. These things, in fact, get this, have bipartisan support among the American people. And we know that we need a pathway to citizenship for the millions of undocumented people in this country, our friends, our neighbors, our loved ones. And that starts, of course, with a pathway to citizenship for our dreamers. We have to get all of this and more in that reconciliation bill passed this week on the House floor. And that is what I believe we will do if we keep fighting for it. Thank you so much for being out here today. It makes a world of difference. And let's win this fight.
That's right. We have a historic opportunity to deliver good jobs save ourselves from the mounds of crisis that have been thrust upon us, and also champion a more humane society in which we care for our neighbors, families, and friends. Now, I want to bring up to the stage someone from a movement-allied group who has fought for exactly that. I want to welcome you.
Thank you. Hello everyone, Karina Ruiz, She Her Saya, DACA recipient, undocumented, unstoppable, unafraid, and here to stay. Let me tell you, I represent those dreamers out there that are in their homes, in their jobs right now, that are attending school. My story is one of many stories. My parents, the first time they migrated was from Oaxaca to Mexico City. Migration is natural because the climate, they couldn't grow their crops in their little town in Oaxaca, and they had to migrate. This is getting worse. Now I have grandchildren, and I worry about the planet that I will leave for them, that we will leave for them. We must take action now so that our future generations have a chance. And we know that those migration patterns are going to change. And with that, the migration of people is going to be heavier. Let me tell you that this Congress right here, I come from Phoenix, Arizona. From Estado de Mexico, my parents migrated in 1999 alongside myself when I was 15 years old. Because of that, I was eligible for DACA. I am one of those privileged young people that can have a driver's license and that can have some sort of protection from deportation, even though it's not 100%. But I cannot do things like voting. One day I want to vote. I want to be able to have representation and participate in that process so that my life and the decisions that are made about my life and the life of my community are also taken in account. Our Senator Kyrsten Sinema and our Senator Mark Kelly from Arizona right now have the power to represent the people in Arizona, which have said loud and clear that we want to make sure that this Build Back Better plan from President Biden, which is a progressive plan that includes relief for people like me. It's not a perfect plan. They're still discussing about immigration, but we want to make sure that some sort of pathway to citizenship is included in this plan. We want to make sure that they deliver on their promise. This was a promise to our people. Let me tell you that my dad passed away last year from COVID. He was waiting on that promise for over 2 decades. He was waiting to see and hug his grandchildren. He had to say bye and farewell to his mother over the cold screen of a phone. I keep that phone even though it doesn't work anymore, as a reminder that my fight is the fight that is worth fighting. That I have to hold accountable these people that work in these buildings to stop the pain in our community from family separation. My mother survived COVID, and she doesn't have to repeat that story. And that could be done if this Congress do their job before the end of the year. So this is the message that we bring from Arizona, and I want everyone to repeat after me. Congress!
Congress!
Do your job!
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 What do we want?
Citizenship!
When do we want it?
Now!
When do we want?
Citizenship!
When do we want it?
Now!
Thank you.
Do your job! Do your
$3.5 trillion reconciliation package. Still waiting on some more people to join us. And I'm going to lead us in a chant that I think we all really feel on the inside. This is a repeat after me. Are you ready? Woo! All right. I believe.
I believe.
I believe that.
I believe that.
I believe that we.
I believe that we.
I believe that we will.
I believe that we will.
I believe that we will win.
I believe that we will win. I believe that we will win. I believe that we will win. I believe that we will win.
I believe
that we will win.
that we will win.
I believe that we will win.
I
believe that we will win. I believe that we will win. I believe that we will win.
I
believe that we will win. I believe that we will win. I believe that we will win.
I just want to give one more big round of applause for Karina, please. Right now, in this decade, our struggles are more united than ever. We know how much the pandemic has put into perspective where a couple of people, a handful of people, saw their wealth soar while everyone else struggled and failed to rebuild, and we built an economy where the currency was death. Right now we have an opportunity to create and construct and rebuild a new economy that works for all of us. And in it, we not only build a more humane economy, but a more sustainable one as well. And one of the people who has been long leading the fight for such an economy has been Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley. And I want to welcome her.
Congresswoman, could you stand right there?
Right here, Congresswoman. Facing that. Thank you so much.
I don't want to have my back to the people, so I'm sorry, guys. You're not going to get me to do that, okay? I'm not going to have my back to the people, so I respect your shot. I'm not going to have my back to the people, although I do want to say thank you for having our backs. We can be more emboldened, more full-throated in our advocacy and holding the line, and the need for us to move a bold reconciliation package. And in fact, I don't even think we should be using that verbiage. That means nothing to everyone who calls this country home, who's experiencing unprecedented hardship. They just need to know that we're holding the line for childcare, for paid leave, for home and community-based services for the disabled and the elderly, for climate resilience, which is not, the climate crisis is certainly a threat to our livability. It's an existential threat, but it is choking at people literally every day, and it's why we don't have clean water and air to breathe. My district has some of the highest asthma rates in the country. So make sure people understand, the stakes. But again, I thank you for giving a damn. I thank you for giving a damn about your neighbor, about our communities. I thank you for having our backs. You have no idea how much you are each a source of strength and inspiration to us. I know that there are many movement partners represented here, so I thank you for being our siblings in the work of justice. I thank you for being agitators and activists and disruptors and justice seekers, because this is a fight worth taking on. And what does it mean for this multi-generational, multiracial movement to have delivered a decisive Democratic majority to the House, the Senate, and the White House, and a decisive mandate, and for us to not act accordingly? This is about, the power of the most marginalized who mobilized, a movement of black, brown, AAPI, indigenous, young, disabled, queer, every walk of life, the most marginalized, mobilized, and they met the moment so that democracy could breathe another day. So in this moment, we are not organizing for benevolence, we are organizing for reciprocity. This is a moment that we've organized for, we have mobilized for, we have voted for. For those of you that don't have an affiliation to any of the movement partners that are here today, I would argue that your greatest affiliation is that you are a member of the human family and you recognize that our freedoms and our destinies are tied. And so for that, I thank you. In this moment, while you're holding the line, this is the ultimate demonstration of collective care, of mutual aid. This movement and movements like it, led by young people like you, have led every transformative social movement in history. So thank you for honoring that history. I know people like to tell you in history books that the civil rights movement is over, but you are the freedom riders of today. And we are still very much in the civil rights movement. And so I want to thank you for being those freedom riders, those justice seekers, for laboring in love, because ultimately that's what this is all about, radical love. So I'm proud to be your sibling, your big sister in this movement. And again, I thank all of you. And I'll just end here and say, I grew up in an organizing household. My mother, may she rest in peace and power, was a tenants' rights activist, a community organizer, a proud Democrat, a super voter. And she just taught me early on that the power of the people has always been greater than the people in power. And that might seem like a contradiction, since technically I am in a seat of power, but I'd like to think that I've earned that humbling honor because I know where the real power lies, and it's with all of you, the people. So keep organizing, keep fighting, keep holding the line, keep demonstrating radical love. I appreciate you all so very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm going to turn my back to you now so that we can take a picture. Okay? So, if you want to give me your camera.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can fit everybody. Oh, you're so tiny. Can you get it? Okay. All right, let's see. I'm not going to we got no phone. Okay. All right, I can't get everybody, but we're going to try.
I got the iPhone 12 though.
No, everyone in the back. They connected.
Nice. All
right.
All right, I want to extend a big thank you, and I want to give another round of applause to all of the speakers who joined us today. I know I have said this a million times, but every time I say it, I want its power to grow. We are here to stay. We are here to stay until a $3.5 trillion investment in our communities goes past the House and the Senate. We are here to stay until our promises are kept and delivered. We are here to stay for as long as it takes to make sure that the mandate that we elected all these people on is a mandate that is fulfilled and is a mandate that helps us lead better lives. We are the People's Watch. We will be here. We are fighting for you. You can come join us. We are delighted to have you here. Thank you so much, everyone.